Well,
So Palestine forever. Yeah, let's go.
well, well. Okay, I'm a very pro-Palestine person, of course. Uh, well, okay. You'd say you take a quick look back and then just think of the Ottoman Empire. That's where it should start. The Ottoman Empire fell off, and then Britain had the place, and then they started bringing Jewish people one by one. Again, I don't have a problem with just to highlight this. It's very important. I never have a problem with Jewish people. Jewish people are very close relatives to Muslims. I have a problem with Zionism. This is one of the biggest. I hate this so much. It's
Evil.
basically Nazi. It's basically the swastika, just in a different shape. I would say. So Zionism is a very big issue for me, and I think that I don't think it's a fact. Those people came to our home or the Palestinians' home. I say our because the Palestinians are my people
Muslim.
as well.
Yeah.
They came to our home. Not only Muslim. They're just Arabs. They're my brothers. They came to our home and they colonized it and they killed our people. They killed our children and our women, and then now they're calling us terrorists. It's if you think about it, like the organization Hamas. Of course, Hamas is a terrorist organization. I'm not gonna get into that a lot, but I want you to think about something. The word terrorist is a very wide word. I can call you a terrorist. If you think terrorist, well, in Arabic, I like to bring the word to its origin. In English, terrorist it comes from the word terrorize, to terrorize someone, to scare him to do something you want. Okay, so for example, they say, for example, Hamas is a terrorist organization because they want to kill Israelis or think about it this way. Okay, I am not arguing with that. They are a terrorist organization in that matter. But no one is addressing the fact that Zionism and Israel, the country and the government, are terrorists. Because think about it this way: you come to my home, you kill my child in front of my eyes, and then when I try to fight you, you call me a terrorist? Is that how it works? And that if, however, anyone wants to deny this, this is exactly what happened. They came, they declared the country of Israel. So the Arabs did the Intifada. You can look that up. It's very important. Intifada, the first Intifada, and then when the first Intifada happened, many Arab people got killed, and then the Arabs were like, "Oh, Arabs are not pro peace. They did the Intifada." Well, think about it. Someone knocks into your home, goes in, and kills your child, and then says, "This is my home now." And then you fight him, and then you say, "Are you fighting me? Are you anti-peace? Okay, I'm gonna take more of your land." That's no one everyone wants to deny that, but that's the fact, and that's what happens, and everyone knows that's what happens.
Yeah.
But people, but because like the problems that happen with Jews, a lot of people what's the word? A lot of people
Censor.
sympathize
Oh yeah.
sympathize to them, and they're pro the country of Israel. But I wouldn't ever be pro the country of Israel. This country is this is not a country. This is a terrorist organization. They came in, they killed people, and they took their homes, they took the land, and they declared that it's their land now. And whenever someone tries to fight back, he gets called a terrorist, and he gets killed, and he gets kidnapped, and it's just horrible what they do. But by the way, I'm not anti a peaceful option. I am always pro a peaceful option because I think that the most humane way, at least humane, I'm just saying humane for Israel is to look for a peaceful option because like the Egyptian president Gamal Abdel Nasser once said, we're gonna throw the Israelis in the sea. We're gonna go to the land and throw them in the sea. I don't agree with what he said. I don't think we should throw them in the sea. Yes, they are colonizers. They took our land and all of this. But now that was a long time ago, and now the world has changed. This is a new generation. A kid that was born in like a kid just like me. He was 17 years old. He was born in 2003. He doesn't know about any of the things that happened before. He just knows that this is his home now. And then and us Arabs need to understand this and start looking for a peaceful option. But if we're gonna look for a peaceful option, it can't be hurting the Arabs. Have you seen that treaty or not the peaceful option that Trump?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of it.
Not at all.
Is that a country? Did you look at how Palestine looked? Is there a country it's not a country, it's a bunch of dots on a map.
Yeah.
It's and, and the thing is, whenever any Arab tries to speak out, they start saying Muslims are terrorists, Muslims are horrible people. And the thing that hurts my heart even more is that they don't say Palestinians are horrible people, and they don't say Arabs are horrible people, or they even if like I don't think they're horrible people, but if they are horrible people, they just don't say Palestinians or Arabs. They say Muslims are horrible people, and and that hurts my heart because if someone reads the Quran, he's gonna cry from how much meaning is in the Quran and how much peaceful and how much the Quran is in a place where it's beautiful in many sense, and not because some people do the Quran wrong. You're gonna say Islam is bad because Islam is a religion. Islam is a word of God, in my opinion, or Islam opinion. It's a word of God, and if you say you just it's the word of Allah, which is our God, which is the same God. Of course, all Christians have. Just it's a word of Him. You don't blame Muslims. Okay, I jumped around so fast between points. Okay, I will come back a bit for the Palestinian part. So I want everyone listening to this to imagine one thing. Someone knocks at the door of your house, goes in, kills your child, and kills your wife, and declares your house his. And when you try to fight back, you call him a terrorist. And that's what history is. And look into history, and it's the same thing. That's history made into a small example, which one was one person, Palestine being you. Think about it for a second. The people got
Yeah.
humiliated, killed. You have the pictures of children dying. Israeli or not Zionists, they kill children like it's nothing. They
So
kill
could
children.
for people who don't know what a Zionist is, could you explain it?
Yeah, a Zionist, it's the ideology of Israel. That's the ideology of Israel. It's just an ideology that is the powerhouse of the Israeli government.
But
Zionism
but
is
like
one of
what are some of the characteristics? Like what do they believe?
they believe that war or like violence is necessary to have a state that a strong state. Do you understand what I'm saying? Which
Mhm.
is Israel. That's why. And I can't remember the name of the one who made it. I just know, no, I know his face. He's a dude with a very long beard. He's the one who declared Israel the country. He was one of the biggest Zionists. It and like Israel being a Zionist is not something I'm saying. Like I'm saying, oh hey, you're a Zionist. No, they call themselves Zionists. They called themselves Zionists. So it's not. I'm not like accusing them of being Zionists. They are, and the closest relatives to Zionists are Nazis, and it's a fact. It's a simple fact. Like, I saw one of the jokes. It says like someone. He was actually Canadian who was saying this. He was speaking, and then he was like he was explaining what Nazi is, what Nazism is, and he explained it, and then he was like Zionism, which is basically the same thing, and he just moved on because it is the same thing. They believe in violence, and they believe in a pure form of humans, which are Jews. So that's that whole idea. I don't respect Zionists. I respect Jews. I would fight. I would die for a Jew person, no problem. But you're like at least don't call me a terrorist for fighting for my own land. And that's the least I would say.
Mm.
You know, Hamas, yes, Hamas is a terrorist organization. Yes, they are trying to get back their countries in horrible ways, like trying to kill normal civilians. Yes, I am against that 100%. But they're not. But they're just trying to get their land back, and that is
Yeah.
justifiable. That is justifiable. If you can't justify that, then then you have a problem. Think about this. Someone
Yeah.
goes into your house, kills your children, takes your land, and are you not gonna fight back? Are you just gonna sit there and be like, dude, yeah, go ahead? It's just
Yeah.
Yeah. I could say, from my perspective, I have some knowledge of this conflict. I know obviously there's some religious connection, like to the Jerusalem,
yes,
this actual building
yes,
there. That's important. And so this fight, I agree with you. It should end peacefully. I hope it would also,
mhm,
but I think the real struggle of it is gonna be to make sure both sides feel comfortable with what they got
yes,
out of the
yes, yes,
agreement. I would say from what I've seen so far that this current one that's being pushed by the United States, it's not. I don't support it either. I don't think it's a good
Yeah,
deal for the Palestinians. I don't think it's fair how it's been worked out. That's my personal opinion. But also,
yeah,
I want to say, like, why, yeah, if someone were to ask me, why do you lean more on the Palestinian side? As someone
yeah,
who's like, yeah, you could say that at this point, I'm still kind of neutral. I lean more Palestinian, and I'm about to say why.
yeah,
But the reason is because I can see a sort of connection with my ancestors,
yeah,
like experience of like we're brought to a new country, right? The formation of a new country, and we're
yeah,
told, we're gonna have this land, and then at some point, we're, like always treated inferior. We're always constantly being killed or someone's taking our stuff, and we're portrayed as thugs in the media, which is circulated around the world. So this is what I'm saying, that yeah, this same kind of bias, this feeling, I can. That's why I tend to be more on for Palestinians. But I also want to hear the Israeli side because I can also understand, like, after you saw what happened to them and they've been persecuted constantly throughout all of history. So they
yeah,
just finally wanted somewhere where they could just call their home, that they don't have to be running from when whatever nation just decides, oh yes, we need to get rid of some people again. It's going to be the Jews. So
yes. Oh yeah,
that's
yeah. I
that's
get
what
you.
I'm saying. It's really hard to take a real hard side as someone who's not personally involved in that conflict. You know,
Yes, yes,
I can I can kind of like feel like, oh yeah, I kind of emotionally feel more close to Palestinians and I see
yeah,
what's going on. But what I
yeah,
want to what I want to really ask is like, um yeah, what would you do? Let's I already know kind of your side, but if
yeah,
you were at that time, let's say right after Holocaust period,
yeah.
where would you, knowing what you know, what would you do for the Jews? What would you do?
This is why I said I sympathize with the Jews. Again, I don't hate Jews. I wouldn't mind them having a state. And again, I wouldn't mind them having part of my own country. If I was a leader at that time, I would have talked to the people. I wouldn't mind having them having a part of Sinai, no problem. But the thing is, real life is like, I am way too idealistic. Real life is not like this. This is not real life. And what
I'm just trying not to sleep on the podcast, you
oh,
know.
no. Oh, yeah. Sorry,
Just
bro.
like no, it's fine, it's fine, it's
It's
fine.
they're just they I get what you're saying, but if I was at that time, I think that the best thing they could have done is find a state for themselves, which is what they did. But the fact that this state came to my house and they forced themselves in with weapons, they came in with weapons, not with signs, is what makes me hate the nation. If they came in
Uh,
asking for help, I'm sure Arabs would have helped them because Arabs connect to the Jews so much, and Muslims. It's in the Quran. It's a, it's the word Ali Israel, the people of
Israel.
Israel, is always in the Quran. If you read it, some of them are being blamed, some of them are being good, and we would have connected, but they came in with a weapon. They forced themselves upon us. They forced themselves upon our land, and they took our land by force.
yeah, so well, I mean, this is the problems. Uh I would say, yeah, there's still more details that I need to know personally. Like I need to
Yeah,
know, like I've watched some videos about it. I don't it doesn't like I said, I'm not personally invested in this particular interest. But
yeah,
I hope and as I watch like the news and see what's going on, that eventually this deal will be brokered better. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going that way, but who knows, right? My president might change in a couple months and that might start some change. Honestly,
Or might
that's
not, or might not.
the biggest proof that the Palestinian, someone needs to look into the government of the West Bank. If you know, Palestine is divided
yeah.
into Gaza Strip and West Bank. The West Bank are pro a peaceful option. They're just pro a fair peaceful option. Many Israelis are they are thinking, oh, one state. It's only gonna be one country. Okay, one country under whose rule? Israeli rule. What about are the Arabs not gonna feel? Are the Arabs not gonna get discriminated against? No. And then some Israelis are against this because they're saying no, we want a Jewish state. So
Mm.
Yeah.
I think the best thing is to have a two countries, two nations, where the people live independently and there's no killing and there's no this and the Arabs are gonna understand this, and the UAE moving towards
Yeah.
Israel. It's I like a lot of Arabs got mad at them for doing this. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. But my only problem against it is that I feel like they're weak. The UAE
Mm.
are the weak side. If they are moving into a more peaceful option from the strength side, I would have respected them much more. But I feel like they're moving into a peaceful option to be the underdog, not like to be the ones inferior to the Israel. They get told what to do and what to say. That's what I don't like. But I am pro that what they did, that the entire idea of it. I'm pro it, of course.
Mm.
Yeah, if they're like listening to what Israel's saying, it means that there's some deal going on. Like
Exactly. Exactly.
they're
I,
gonna side with Israel in exchange for probably some trade or something that the UAE needs. That's how diplomacy works. And so that's the other thing. It's like I've heard the argument that the Palestinians just made a bad deal, like initially in the beginning. Like
yeah,
I heard something like their leader was like he gave up too much land, and then once the Jewish people took it, then there was some like local disputes, right? Because then there's two levels, right? Sometimes the
yeah.
government will agree to something, and then some individual people will fight back, right? The government agreed to give away my house, but I didn't agree, so I'm gonna fight. And then when I fight, then yeah, that's when you hear this terrorist like label gets put on
There's
them.
a video I watched. The Palestinian boy. He's very very sweet and lovely. Like they were having a debate, a Palestinian and Israeli, and then the Palestinian was like, "Where's your grandfather from?" And then he was like, "From Holland." Then my grandfather is from Palestine. It means imagine this. Imagine you have a home that you lived in, and for generations you lived in this home, and then someone comes and tells you, "Fuck off! This is our home now." It hurts my heart, and it hurts his heart. So
Yeah,
Mm.
keep that in mind because that is important.
that's I mean that's the thing. It's a very emotional like feeling, that people are getting, and it's hard to reckon with
Make it.
those feelings and at the same time negotiate with somebody who you have to, like, you can't just like say, oh,
Yeah.
Israelis, you have no right to be here at all. You got to
Yeah,
deal with it.